All right, so we've got a stack of articles here about India's futures and options market.
Yeah, F&O. It's been certainly interesting to watch.
It seems like things were getting a little out of hand,
Definitely a little spicy.
and India's regulator SEBI decided to step in and, lay down the law.
Big time. They haven't been messing around.
So before we get into all the nitty-gritty of SEBI's new rules,
Sure.
can you give us a quick F&O 101?
Yeah, so futures and options, they're basically like, leverage is the name of the game, right?
Right.
It's a way to amplify your bets
Okay.
on where you think the price of something is going.
So instead of buying a ton of, Reliance shares?
Exactly. You can control a much larger position with like a fraction of the actual cash outlay.
Gotcha. So high risk, high reward.
Yeah, you got it. Magnified gains, but also magnified losses.
And it seems like a lot of people were on the losing end of that equation.
Oh, yeah. Big time.
A couple of these articles mentioned a SEBI study
Yeah.
talking about some pretty massive losses.
It was wild, like 93%.
93%.
93% of individual F&O traders lost money between 2021 and 2024.
Wow.
We're talking over 1.8 lakh crore.
So the average person was losing what, like,
The average was about 2 lakh, but some people lost a whole lot more.
oof, that's rough.
Yeah, it was a recipe for disaster. You had all these new traders jumping in, enticed by the possibility of quick riches,
You're right.
and they were taking on way too much leverage, holding these positions for like minutes sometimes.
Really?
Yeah, just crazy short-term speculation, and it created huge volatility.
Especially around expiry days,
And
right?
yeah, expiry day was like a powder keg.
So you've got this perfect storm brewing, right? You've got tons of speculation. You've got leverage fueling the fire. And
Exactly.
you've got a lot of people who don't really know what they're doing.
Yeah, it was a ticking time bomb, and then SEBI stepped in and said, okay, enough is enough.
Yeah, it seems like they really brought the hammer down.
6 major changes. It's a big deal.
Yeah, they weren't messing around.
Not at all. They went straight for the heart of the issue, the speculation, the leverage.
And I got to say, I'm impressed with some of these moves.
Yeah.
Like increasing the minimum contract size.
Yeah, they basically said, okay, if you want to play in the F&O sandbox, you got to up your ante.
So no more small-time traders dabbling with their pocket change.
Exactly. They're trying to weed out those who might be in over their heads.
It's like moving from a friendly poker game to high-stakes Vegas.
Right.
Right.
Precisely, they want serious players at the table.
All right, so what else did they do to try to tame this F&O frenzy?
Well, they took aim at those crazy expiry days.
Oh, yeah, those were wild.
Remember all that chaos?
How could I forget?
So they decided to limit each exchange to offering weekly expiry contracts on only one benchmark index.
Interesting.
Yeah, less opportunity for that concentrated last-minute frenzy.
So less congestion, fewer accidents.
Exactly. They're trying to create a smoother flow of traffic, so to speak.
Smart.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out.
Okay, let's talk about another one of these changes, this calendar spread thing.
Oh, yeah, that one's a bit technical.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie, that one went over my head a bit.
So basically, traders were using this tactic called calendar spread offsetting to try and reduce their risk.
Okay, sounds reasonable enough.
Yeah, but SEBI found that it was actually adding to the volatility, especially on those already crazy expiry days.
So it backfired.
Yeah, unintended consequences.
Happens all the time.
Exactly.
All right, so that's calendar spreads. What about these upfront option premiums?
Ah, that's another big one.
So no more playing with borrowed money.
Not as much. Starting in February, option buyers have to put up the full premium upfront.
Wow.
Yeah, no more using just a fraction of that as margin.
That's going to make people think twice.
That's the point. It forces traders to put their own skin in the game.
Because, as they say, if you're playing with someone else's money.
You're much more likely to bet recklessly.
Exactly. All right, let's move on to the next change on SEBI's list.
Right.
Intraday position monitoring.
Big Brother's watching.
So SEBI's basically setting up 24/7 F&O surveillance.
Pretty much, they're going to be tracking position limits throughout the entire trading day.
Not just at the close anymore.
Nope, if you exceed your limit even for a minute.
Busted.
Exactly.
So no more flying under the radar.
Not any more transparency is the name of the game now.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about the last change, this increased tail risk margin.
Ah, yes, the ominous-sounding one.
It does sound a bit scary.
It's all about mitigating those black swan events. You know, those rare but catastrophic events.
Right, the ones that can blow up your entire portfolio.
Precisely. And to do that, they're adding an extra 2% margin requirement called the extreme loss margin.
Or ELM.
Yeah, the ELM. It's basically an insurance policy for the market just in case things go haywire.
So buckle up, Buttercup.
Exactly. You
Yeah.
never know when you might need that extra protection.
So that's 6 major changes, all designed to cool down India's F&O market. What's your take on all this?
Well, I think it's a clear sign that SEBI is serious about protecting investors and ensuring the long-term stability of the market.
Right. They're not messing around.
Nope, they're putting their foot down.
But will it actually work?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Traders are a creative bunch.
They'll always try to find a way.
We'll have to wait and see how it all plays out.
Exactly. It'll be interesting to watch.
All right, well, let's take a quick break, and then we'll come back and discuss the potential impact of all this on India's reputation as a global player in the derivatives market.
Sounds good.
All right, so we're back, and we've been talking about India's wild ride in the F&O market
It's been a roller coaster, that's for sure.
and how SEBI is stepping in with some major changes.
Trying to tame the beast.
Exactly. So let's pick up where we left off.
Okay.
We're about to dive into the potential impact of all this
Right.
on India's reputation when it comes to derivatives trading.
Yeah, it's a big question.
On the one hand, you could argue that these new rules make India's F&O market less attractive.
Less of a free-for-all.
Exactly.
Some of those big institutional investors, they love volatility.
It's how they make their money.
Exactly. They might be turned off by these changes.
But on the other hand,
Yeah.
you could say that this is a necessary step to attract more responsible long-term investment,
Absolutely.
creating a more stable and predictable market.
Which is ultimately better for everyone in the long run.
Right. It's all about finding that balance.
Always is.
Risk versus stability.
The eternal struggle.
So for those of us listening who might be thinking,
Yeah.
okay, this is all very interesting,
Uh-huh.
but I'm not living in India.
Right.
What are the broader takeaways here?
Well, I think what's happening in India right now with F&O is a bit of a cautionary tale.
How so?
Well, it highlights the challenges that regulators around the world are facing.
When it comes to
Derivatives.
Right.
These things are complex and they can be risky.
No doubt.
And with the rise of things like high-frequency trading and algorithms...
The whole new ball game.
Exactly.
Huh.
It's like trying to direct traffic on a superhighway with cars that can change lanes at the speed of light.
So you're saying we need more scrutiny.
I think it's inevitable.
Interesting.
India's situation is a reminder that even in a booming market, you need a strong regulatory framework to protect investors and ensure sustainable growth.
Makes sense.
It's a delicate balancing act.
It always is, isn't it?
It really is.
Well, on that note, I think it's time to wrap up this deep dive.
It's been a good one.
As always, thanks for joining me and sharing your insights.
My pleasure.
And to everyone listening, thanks for tuning in.
And remember, folks...
Trade responsibly. So we've covered a lot of ground here talking about India's F&O market,
It's a wild one.
SEBI's crackdown.
Definitely a crackdown.
But let's step back for a second.
Okay.
What's the big takeaway here?
Well, I think the biggest thing is that SEBI is sending a message.
Loud and clear.
They're serious about this.
Yeah.
Protecting investors, making the market more stable, less like a casino.
But will it work? I mean, traders are going to trade.
That's the thing, isn't it? They'll always find a way to adapt.
So maybe instead of just focusing on the rules,
Yeah.
maybe we need to focus on education,
I like that.
teaching people about the risks of these complex instruments.
Knowledge is power, right?
Exactly. Because at the end of the day, it's about making informed decisions.
Absolutely.
Well, that about wraps up our deep dive into the world of Indian F&O.
It's been a fascinating one.
As always, thanks for joining me and sharing your expertise.
My pleasure.
And to all of you listening, thanks for tuning in. And remember, knowledge is power. So keep learning, keep asking questions, and we'll see you next time.